Welcome back to the dojo, y'all. Welcome back to the daily discussions. I'm your host, Professor Sensei, and I'm glad you can make it. I'm glad you're tuning in. Before we start the video, I really just want to say thank you to everybody who's been liking the videos, sharing the videos, and subscribing, because I'm seeing the numbers go up, I'm seeing the likes go up, I'm seeing more engagement, and I want y'all to know that I appreciate that. So if you like this video, I'm not even going to tell you to like it. I want you to send it to somebody who you know will like it. So first off, right, the topic of discussion for today: what you say versus what you mean. Close it down here. What you say versus what you mean. I'm going to start off with a phrase, right? I'm responsible for what I say, not what you understand. I'm going to say that one more time. I'm responsible for what I say, not what you understand. Now, keep that in mind when you're talking to somebody else. And also let them know of that statement, of that quote. I'm responsible for what I say, not what you understand. Now let's get into this, right? The reason why I want to talk about what you say versus what you mean is because a lot of times problems that arise in our life, they come from misunderstandings. When you say something and somebody interprets it a different way. And on the other hand, there are times when somebody may say something and you're not really sure what they're saying. Right? That can happen too. So you might have to hit somebody with the phrase, what you mean? What you mean? I hear what you're saying, right? I hear what you're saying. But what is it that you mean when you say what you say? Right? That's what we gotta understand when we talk and interact with one another. We gotta understand the implications and or the implied meanings of what's said. Sometimes we gotta figure out what wasn't said to understand what was said. Sometimes it was just implied. Sometimes people can say stuff with you, would say something to you with a simple gesture or a simple look or a simple nod. Like you might ask somebody, like, what you think about that, right? And they don't say nothing, they just be like, you know what I mean? You can almost assume that they like it or you have their approval or they with it. You know what I mean? That's usually a gesture of acknowledgement or yes, or I agree. I'm in accordance. You know what I mean? What you say versus what you mean. You ain't always got to say something to mean something. Actions speak louder than words. So when you look at what you say versus what you mean, you want to always look at what somebody mean and not really so much what they say. You want to look at what people mean, not really so much what they say. And when somebody says something and you're not sure what they mean or what they're trying to convey, just simply ask them, what you mean by that? Like, what does that mean? I never heard that term before. That's a new one on me. Let me talk to me, man. Let me know what that means. Teach me. You know what I'm saying? I want to understand. Understanding is a wellspring of life. You know what I mean? Each one teach one. So when you talking to somebody and you're not really sure what they're saying, just ask them. Like, yeah, I heard what you said, but you could mean this, you could mean that. You know what I mean? There's sometimes in the English language, there are times when people say stuff that could mean several different things. You know what I mean? You got to pay attention to context. That's why, like, most people say this is one of the hardest languages to understand and learn. Because when you look at words, right? You got to understand the context. I got an example for you. The word left. 3 rights make a left. I had 4 oranges. I ate 2. I only got 2 left. You know what I mean? We all went to the party. I was last one there. I was the only one left. Or you could say, when the party was done, I crashed there. Everyone left me there to find my way home. You know what I mean? You gotta figure out what was said. You could know what all those definitions mean, but if you don't understand the context of the dialogue, you're gonna be confused. You're gonna be confused, and that goes especially in this language, the language that I'm speaking in, English. You know what I mean? You want to try to always understand what somebody is meaning when they say something, or even when they do something. And on the other hand, when you're talking to somebody and they may seem confused, or you could kind of get the picture that they not really following how, you wish they would, or the way they are projecting that they want to, how like when you say something to somebody like, yeah, like they want to listen, but they don't really know what you're saying. They just trying to let you keep talking until maybe you'll say something that rings a bell or whatever, you know what I mean? So when you talking to somebody, they not really following, they not really understanding, just take a second, like, you get what I'm saying? You understand that? You know what I mean? An honest person would be like, nah, I ain't even gonna lie, bro. I ain't catching none of that. All right, well, I'll break it down for you. Always be willing to meet somebody where they at. Always be willing to meet somebody where they at, because like I said before, a lot of the problems that we have in our lives is because of misunderstandings, the lack of communication, or the lack of being able to articulate yourself. You know what I mean? A lot of us as men, we think that violence is the answer. You know what I mean? Violence, it can be the answer, but that's usually the answer when it's for judgment or for punishment or something like that. You know what I mean? If somebody don't understand, you don't need to be violent to them. Just help them understand. Explain it to them. You know what I mean? Walk with them. Take the time to help them to understand. And if you don't believe that it's necessary or even worth it to take a time, just walk away. They'll get it. They'll get it then when you walk away. Like, you know what? I ain't got time to help you understand. Your life will teach you. You know what I mean? If you ain't got time to teach them, let life teach you. You know what I mean? What you say versus what you mean. You always want to make sure that when you speak to somebody, you want to be specific, especially when you're giving directions, or you're in a leadership position, or people are looking at you for understanding or help or knowledge, whatever. You know what I mean? You always want to meet people where they at and make sure they understand what's going on, especially if y'all got to work together, or y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all pulling y'all resources, whatever. Everybody should know what's going on. Everybody needs to be on the same page. So if you say something and everybody doesn't understand what you're saying, then there's going to be issues. There's going to be problems. People need to always understand what you mean, unless you're trying to manipulate or get over on somebody. You know what I mean? You want to be ambiguous, and you want to be, you know what I mean, somewhat not concrete. You want to leave it open-ended for them to try to figure out, so you can take advantage of them trying to figure out. But, whatever the case may be in life, what you say versus what you mean is very, very important. Because somebody could say something, but they don't mean it. Like they say that women compliment each other all the time, but they don't mean it. You know what I mean? You say women hate each other. That's a prime example. Oh, girl, your hair looks so nice. Whole time her hair's a mess, and you know it's a mess. You're being underhandedly sarcastic. What you say versus what you mean. What you say versus what you mean. Don't find yourself in situations and problems because you thought you were too good to explain, or you were too good to articulate the point so everybody could understand and everybody on the same page. You know what I mean? If you ever seen the movie Drumline, it's a phrase in that movie, one band, one sound. When you realize that this human experience that we all having is, we all in this shit together. We are all part of a collective. Whether you want to take advantage of other people, or you want to help other people, or you want to work alongside of other people, we all need each other to survive in one way, shape, or form. Like when you wake up in the morning, you expect your light to come on when you flick that switch. You expect that water to run when you turn that faucet, right? You expecting that the work and the labor that was done on your house or your apartment or whatever, it is up to code and is up to par and is up to standard. You know what I mean? So that it can last for years and years. Even though, you know, construction is really it ain't what it used to be. Structural integrity of a lot of stuff is just trash because they're using cheaper and cheaper materials. But that's another discussion, right? When we get back into what you say versus what you mean, you need to understand the importance of getting your point across so there are no misunderstandings, because even the Bible teaches us our people die for a lack of knowledge. That don't even have to be academia. That could just be not understanding how to interact when you in a different place that's not your hometown. They say when in Rome do as the Romans do, but always, you gotta know where you at. You gotta know where you at. Cause see, like in the city that I'm living in, you might be a tourist. You'll come here and somebody, hey, what it do, dummy? You think somebody's insulting you, but no, that's actually just how people talk around here. You know what I mean? So when we get into the subject of what you say versus what you say may mean something different in a completely different place. You know what I mean? I lived in New York for a little while, and I used to always hear, like when I first moved out there, I used to always hear people say, man, it's brick. Man, it's brick. There's brick out there. You ain't going out there. Like, and if you never been out there or know anybody out there, you probably don't know. That means that it's cold. It's really, really cold. You know what I mean? That's what they mean by brick. I'm guessing it came from, you know what I mean, somebody being like super, super cold, and you know what I mean, they hand rub up against something, or they feel like they solid as a brick. They can't move. I'm so cold. My bones is bone chilling. And it get real cold out there in New York, man. So I could feel that. You know what I mean? And then you in the concrete jungle. Y'all always leaning up on the bricks. You know what I mean? So the bricks gonna be cold too anyway. So like, yo, it's brick out there, yo. I mean, I don't really know where it come from or why that's what it is, but what you say versus what you mean has different understandings and different meanings in different places. So understand the culture, understand the people, understand the natives. When, you know what I'm saying, you go somewhere, study it, ask around, interact with people. You know what I mean? You always want to understand or get the gist of what someone means when they talk or when they move. You know what I mean? Like I said before, it ain't always what somebody's saying when they trying to send you a message. You know what I mean? It could be a gesture or a movement or anything. Maybe even be a note. Who knows? But understand the importance of what you say versus what you mean. And always remember, you are responsible for what you say, not what they understand. You're responsible for what you say, not what they understand. And when you can clearly see that they don't understand, break it down for them so they don't make the same mistake again. With that being said, Professor Hawk signing out. Hawk Sensei bids you adieu. Hope you're waking up every day with a plan, purpose, and a smile. If you're not waking up with a plan, purpose, and a smile, hey, at least you're waking up. Let's expand, let's grow, let's go, y'all. Class is dismissed.